right, thank you so much and welcome to Vijana Tuchanuke podcast. My name is Duncan Maigwa and today, as always, we have lots and lots prepared for you. And of course, mnajua vizuri watu waangushi, and we have been always fighting to see what we call information hygiene or digital hygiene. And actually, we are here again to continue with the same conversations. And today I have guests together with me. But before I bring them together, to just say hi and introduce themselves, it's also important, again, you tell us, what do you think about misinformation and disinformation? I know we've been talking about this. It's not our intention to bore anyone, but but the question is, why do we keep talking about this? Because we realize that it's a menace and it's affecting very many people. And of course, you ask yourself a question of why would anybody want to propagate misinformation and disinformation? There has to be someone who loses. There has to be someone who gains from it. And yes, together with me, I have two guests. Nasikia niwaambie, breathe in, breathe out. All right, so I don't know. It's today we have a very good representation. You know, the last podcast, guys, we had two men. Kuna mtu alituangusha mahali tu, hakukuja.
And advocating for two-thirds.
Imagine, sasa today nimeamua sitaangusha wananchi huku nje. And we have a lady in the house and a gentleman in the house. Actually, it's 50-50. It's 50-50 from my panel. Yeah, it's 50-50. Actually, hata tumesurpass. I don't know. So, but again, it's important if I start with you. Do I say your name? You can just introduce yourselves. Salimia wa vijana huku nje.
Thank you so much, Duncan. My name is Miriam Nafula. I'm a young woman. So I have an interest in politics and governance, just to ensure that Kenya enjoys its democratic rights. Currently, I serve as the project coordinator at the International Center for Peace and Human Development in Africa, IPHRD Africa. Our head office is here in Nairobi. And today, I'm glad to be here at Kreko offices.
Karibu sana.
And I look forward to becoming here more to engage with the young people, to talk about constitutional reforms and just to promote the democratic agenda out there. Thank you.
Yeah. Na leo tumekuja kuchanua vijana and vijana najua wamesikia.
Yes, sure.
The kind of person in the house, kabisa lazima tuchanuke. The gentleman on my far left. Yes, you know we keep left unless overtaking.
Yeah.
You can say hi to vijana huku nje.
Yeah, thank you very much, Duncan. I'm glad to be here with you today. Yes, my name is Martin Jane. I'm a program associate at the African Council of Religious Leaders, Religions for Peace. We tackle issues to do with peace and justice and democracy in the African continent. And more so here, I'm happy to be here just to talk to the youth, empower them, and promote that democracy and that civic education to them so that they can be able to understand that they have the power. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Martin. I think I'm really, really happy, even as you talk about peace and justice, and talking about democracy, because I heard you mention very majina mazito huko, maneno mazito huko. And of course, that is actually within the scope of what we Kreko do. Talking about justice, talking about peace. The truth is, I think just to chime in and to also continue with where you just stopped, we realize that information is power. That's what they say. Information is power. And I know, Martin, maybe even as you talk about peace, we realize the very vital role that information plays when it comes to either building or destroying the peace of a nation. So, but maybe I think it's always, kila wakati tunakumbushanga watu hapa tunawakumbusha kidogo tu, what is misinformation, what is disinformation. I think it's also important to ambie from the nature of your work, what is the place of misinformation and disinformation. Again, you also dealing with the religious organizations, I know. They are also part of your... the stakeholders, the people that we can say are big players within the scope of your work. what is the role of misinformation and disinformation? Because actually, religious organizations have been accused of misinformation, especially on critical issues,
Yes.
come as a health.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what is how do you address the issues of misinformation and disinformation? Maybe just a quick one before we proceed.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Yes. When you look at the African landscape right now, we have intricate issues in regards to information.
Yeah.
The digital landscape, mostly in Africa, has changed, has been revolutionized. Yes, it has opened opportunities for young people to be able to engage in matters concerning education, concerning health, concerning organizations, and being able to build themselves. But it has also come with disadvantages.
Yeah.
Yes, because when you find the information landscape, mostly in Africa, the youth are the ones who are more so in the digital space.
Yes.
Yes, we have a lot of youth there. So when you look at the religious landscape, religion is playing a big role because they are the ones who hold the legitimacy of the community.
Right.
So when we have these issues of misinformation going on in our communities, we look forward to religious leaders to be able to engage and promote the youth and to be able to give them that power and zeal to be able to go onto the digital landscape and to be able to tackle these issues head on. So yeah, it is a thorn. It has come with its disadvantages. It also has its advantages. It has opened doors to many issues, and people have been able to engage with it directly. So yeah, I believe that when the youth are empowered, they can be able to change this. Yes.
Thank you. And to you, Miriam, you talked about representation of women.
Yes.
I think women are also considered as minority. I think it's PWDs,
Women
and youth, and the youth.
Yes.
So there is also what we call gendered misinformation and disinformation.
Yes.
So I know that is also an issue from the scope of your work, right?
Yeah. It's actually a very big issue, especially me being interacting with the young people out there, especially the young women. Misinformation and disinformation in regards to the gender is a big challenge. For example, just taking the line of political engagement, we're having young women who want to be in leadership, but there are so many stereotypic perception about these women. There's so much misinformation and disinformation perpetrated to these women, which bars them, from pursuing their goals. Referencing the 2022 general election, I got a chance to interact with young men who were vying for different positions. And some of the challenges that these young women were facing, including was cyberbullying, hate speech, their names to be tainted out there, and this, had a ripple effect to their candidature, Just a last minute to the election day, somebody pops in with a message that, so-and-so has resigned. And you know how it has an effect to your voters. The poet plan to vote for you. It has an effect, maybe to the political parties, after, for example, the registrar of political parties and the IBC.
Yes.
But now there is need to making sure that we ascertain the credibility of this information before making this information spread out to social media. I believe that so many young people out there are in social media spaces. We leverage on mainstream media and digital spaces. And when such information spread, for example, in social media, in magazine, it has a challenge. It has mental effect, to this person. It can perpetrate hate and violence, which might result to war. It can also maybe just, make somebody feel, maybe it's not maybe fit enough. It's not even capable sometimes. So there is need to come up with measures to curb mis and disinformation.
And of course there is actually the issue of malinformation. That is correct information out there, but that which has been customized to taint the reputation of someone. We talk of women revenge porn, which very many women also, and especially those that are seeking elective posts, have also had a challenge to deal with. So it's important, again, even our viewers and our listeners, wherever you are at Vijana Tuchanuke podcast, you can also Weigh in with your comments with regards to our discussion today, and especially even the women and the young ladies who are listening to us. How have you suffered in the hands of misinformation and disinformation, right?
I personally suffered.
You have?
Yeah, while in university, I
Well,
wanted...
let us have yet. Premium tiers are just about
to roll.
You can
I'm
say
a
it in a
victim.
nutshell.
Actually, I'm a victim.
Hey.
While in university, there is this norm that, leadership position is for the male.
Yeah.
But for the women, who are empowered, want to come out, and vie for these positions. Then you create there your WhatsApp group that you'll use for mobilization and campaigning. Then there is something that comes out just after the election day, somebody drops in a message that,
Just in time.
Yeah, so and so has resigned, and it even comes up with a forged letter, and signed and stamped,
Yeah.
And even sometimes, even in this social media, somebody can just, throw there an image that is not so good to, to consume for your consumption.
Yeah.
And this might, make your supporters, to refrain maybe from supporting you,
Yes.
spreading malicious information about you. So that is the challenge that so many young people are facing out there.
Pole. Pole sana. Wait, can you share your story down there to the comment section? And of course, we have to make sure that we go through your comments. You can comment down there. And also follow us on our social media platforms, on X at Kreko Kenya, on Facebook at Kreko-Kenya, on Instagram at Kreko Kenya, on TikTok at Kreko Kenya, on YouTube at Kreko KE. And also you can visit our website at www.krekokenya.org. Now, guys, kuna kitu iko hapa. Na ni shida sana. Unajua tumekuwa tukiuliza swali, tunashangaa, why are people spreading misinformation? Why is someone spreading disinformation? Mtu anaenda na curate to some information, Martin. Anaenda anaitengeneza tu hivyo, mislead tu watu. Kama ni jana nilitumiwa kakitu, by the way, kuhusu just about the issues on impeachment. The former deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua, His Excellency. And it was very, 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 very interesting to read some of the fake stuff. Actually, there is one that came in saying that doctors confirm that Rigathi is in good health. Advise him to go back to Senate for impeachment. And actually, interestingly, it looks like it's coming from a very credible source, as we know.
Yeah, sure.
So,
And even just some few days ago, there was a letter that was circulating online that DP Gachagua has resigned.
Yeah.
Later on to realize it was fake.
Actually it was there. If you actually looked even to some of the hashtags that were trending, when the proceedings of the impeachment motion were going on, Mato, unapata zilikuwa hashtags zingine zina push some things. There was even one that was saying congratulations. I don't know, congratulations to who? But when you open the hashtag, unakuta ni someone is being congratulated as for being appointed as the incoming deputy president. But the question is, it looks like Mato, and I want you to tell us, looks like Mato, there's just someone who wants to gain from something. For instance, in the political environment, when someone designs such a poster, what do they gain from it?
When you look at the political landscape, how they survive with getting people and mobilizing youth to be able to do something. They use apathy. They're able to push you. So when they push the narrative, they're able to change the way that you think.
Yes.
So when you believe that something is not what it is, then you are easily swayed. And then when you're easily swayed, then they are able to manipulate you.
So it's more of causing attention.
Yes.
Okay, simply they just want first your attention.
Yeah, they create the attention, they put the narrative out there, then you run with it, then you go and spread it, and then there is the whole chaos that comes with it, and then they are able now to come in and and change the narrative and explain something different, or they may be able to mobilize people and they're able to think differently. Yes.
So actually that's why I think we are talking about the attention economy, because when we talk about the economy of mis and disinformation, it's about attention. But let me ask you a question, Mato, kwa sababu unasema kwanza ni ku bring attention. Why is it that the issue of misinformation and doesn't seem to spare even the most learned ones?
Yeah.
They are also part of this economy, this ecosystem. This ecosystem, in as much as it's about attention. First, it's attention. But in the long run, there has to be a goal, a final goal. Right?
Yeah.
That would be what?
The information landscape now has changed. There are incoming issues such as AI. AI has changed the information landscape at all. Yeah, now we have doctored. You can be able to doctor even a photo of somebody doing something.
Yeah.
You can be able to forge the letters. You can be able to do anything with AI.
Yeah.
We also even have videos of President Ruto commenting about the issue, but he has not been able to come out directly and comment anything. Yeah. So the information landscape has changed, and people are really there. They are just really pushing narratives to be able to get a financial gain.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you have political elites paying for bloggers to be able to run different narratives. We saw the Morara Kebaso issue when he was doing civic education, and he was teaching people about the stalled project and all that. And then we had bloggers from who were paid from the political elite that they came in
saying that he's a fraudster, he's a con man.
He's a fraudster, he's a con man.
Share your story.
Yeah, he's being funded by people from I don't know where. So it is a complicated web.
It is actually it is, and I think talking talking about issues on narrative, and also how again you talked about the financial gains, but it's important again, Miriam, to also explore besides the financial gain, because I tend to think those who gain financially are quite few.
Yeah.
There are quite few.
Yeah, including those who send you M-Pesas. Ushaitumiwa your message?
Of course. Hata ile ya kuambiwa rent sasa tumebadilisha account. Sasa ni hii ingine. So apart from financially, what are some of the other ways that people gain from misinformation and disinformation? Because it looks like it's very lucrative.
Yes.
It's a very lucrative ecosystem. Because especially nowadays, it's like nowadays government is run on X.
Yeah. In fact, even public notices are made in X. Government meetings in X. Yeah. In as much as we are appreciating the role that the digital and the mainstream media is playing in ensuring that information gets to everyone at ease.
Yes.
We also need to be cognizant of the disadvantages that comes with it. For example, we are living in an area where everyone wants to be a blogger. Everyone wants to be a journalist. I'm not trained. I'm not professional, but I pick up an information, rush it on Twitter and post and gain followers, be influential. I want to be the first one to post so that other people can get from me.
So you want to be influential. That means nowadays is it self-actualization?
The fear of missing out.
The fear of missing out. Wow.
Yeah, so you go on TikTok, you people are propagating lies of somebody just to gain followers. You go on X, person comes up. It looks formal, but it's not. Just because they want to have an influence, they want to increase their following. They want to also gain monetary benefits, as it has been said earlier. Yes.
Wow, that's interesting. Na unajua sasa the problem is most of the time tunatumika sana kama vijana, especially because I know actually in the previous podcast we've had this discussion on how social media has acted as an echo chamber, whereby now when information lands there, it's echoed. It actually goes so freely to different fronts, and affecting people out there. So, but let me ask you a question, because I know there is something also that Martin, we need to also come and discuss, especially in our next bit of this series. It's also important again to ask ourselves a question on is this economy of mis and disinformation new? Because in as much as I know we have had conspiracy theories before addressing different issues, now we talk from the global stage. We have different information being propagated online, with regards to the Israel-Hamas war. Yeah, we've had people even fake videos, some images actually being over-edited to really enhance the intensity and actually sway people emotionally. So there is the financial gain, but also emotionally. If, for instance, I influence you emotionally, how do I gain from that? Because either people become angry. Actually, recently there is a term that has been very common. Tumekuwa tukiita gaslighting. So sasa, but when I sway you emotionally, how do I gain from that, for instance?
When you look at the narrative that is running now globally, we have very many countries with overt conflict. Sudan, for instance, their conflict has been propagated online. We have the RSF and the SAF coming online and mobilizing people to be able to spread misinformation. And you are here and you feel like Khartoum, there has been a bombing. People of a certain tribe or a certain race, they have been able to be bombed. And when we have such information in the global stage, then there is what we call the fright that comes with it. So those governing bodies like the United Nations, when they look at the information landscape, it has really changed what is happening and the narrative that happened. When you look also at the Israel war, the Israelis have been able to change the way they do they do their things there. It has really changed because every day you hear something new. Lebanon has been bombed. Israel has done this. These are unverified information, but when you go online, people run with it. So they have been able to change the narrative. So they cause that tension among people, and people are able to now go online. They spread hate, and the political hate, now they benefit from this. Because when you are in conflict, yes, they are able to control because you don't have the control. For instance, in Sudan, the military are fighting. There is no democracy there, so everything is just run by the military. So when they push these narratives about conflict, then the people can do nothing about it. If you cannot be able to air your voices.
Because you see, now we've actually been talking about democracy, and how we are now talking about e-democracy, where people now have the capacity and the ability to be able to talk freely on different fronts and actually get to even a very, very big audience. And I want you to just speak about this, Miriam, briefly, because because honestly, is democracy a problem? Because it seems like due to democracy has created a platform, for instance, whereby now people are able to gain out of information, simply out of information. Is democracy a problem that now it's time to think about the freedom of expression and how far we should get to?
Yes. Even as a country, as we celebrate the milestone that we have come since the attainment of the 2010 Constitution, this is one of the greatest documents that we have. And of course, it has good laws that abides us, including data protection and information. So democracy and mis and disinformation are interlinked. We understand that the Constitution guarantees us the freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of movement. And if these freedoms are not regulated, that means that people will capitalize, on the existing articles in the Constitution without considering the affected parties or institution. And we also need to consider this when discussing about these issues, that even as every other stakeholders is trying to make sure that they curb mis and disinformation. There is need also to engage with the lawmakers to ensure how is our data privacy as a country, how is our informational systems, how is our mainstream media regulated, how is our digital media. I saw recently we had a discussion about regulating TikTok, and the president even talked about it, and you saw how it arose, a discussion at the digital digital space, especially TikTok. So many young people are using, spaces such as TikTok, for income. We understand that, there are no jobs in Kenya, but it does not guarantee you that you have to go there and, try to be a blogger, try to disseminate something that is not true out there. Yeah, and even I saw it does not only affect individuals, it also affects institutions. We've been institutions who have found themselves in these particular issues. For example, somebody coming up with an issue against a company, against an institution. A good example, the NIS, National Intelligence Service, against now the previous cases that is ongoing. So these are something that needs to be critically looked into. And maybe another thing is to make sure how can we create more empowerment and more awareness to the both mainstream and digital space users, and also to the general public at large on how can you know that this is a fake news and this is a real news. Maybe it can be sometimes fake news has issues like error, spelling error. Sometimes you receive information, it has been forwarded many times, and looking critically on it, the imaging, it does not look real. It can be AI generated. So we have to be very clearly in looking into this and advise the public on how can they differentiate between real news and fake news. Yes.
Wow. Yeah. Hey, hiyo ni darasa. That's an entire class. But thank you so much, guys. I think it's so good that we've been able to educate the young people and just to remind them that the entire issue of mis and disinformation is an issue that indeed very many people have capitalized, especially on information gaps, whereby there are missing links between specific information, especially issues on policy, issues that are of public interest. Very many people have really fallen short of proper information, and therefore there are now people wale wanakuja sasa. Even if you hire bloggers are now going to be in a position to come and talk about stuff that people don't even know, and sometimes most of them are exaggerated claims, which is a very, 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 very worrying trend. But guys, in just a bit, we are going to be talking about now who gains from the misinformation and disinformation ecosystem. And we keep our listeners engaged on this podcast through the comment section. And just to let them know is that from the comment section is that we also shape our upcoming conversations from what we see on the comment section. So should you have a question, drop it down there and we are going to address it. So thank you guys. It's just about time that we come and discuss about who gains from mis and disinformation. So, and of course, keep it tuned at Kreko Kenya on X, on Facebook at Kreko-Kenya, on Instagram at Kreko Kenya, on TikTok at Kreko Kenya, on YouTube at Kreko KE, and our website at krekokenya.org. Thank you so much guys. Asanteni sana. Najua mlikuwa mnataka kupeana ka parting shot before sasa tukuje to deal na hawa watu wana gain from this, but time is up, but we are going to be discussing about this in our next episode. And that was Vijana Tuchanuke podcast. Asanteni sana.
Asante. Thank you so much for hosting us.
Asanteni. Thank you, Martin.